I don't talk when we play. But I really love the interaction that Mudhoney, like Mark Arm, come up with these really funny, sarcastic comments to people in the audience, and that kind of bond is so great. Especially with Mudhoney, it's more of a love thing. It isn't a violent thing at all. Translates better in a club too. That's one thing I'm really upset about, and that's another reason why I don't give a shit if this record sells. You know?
Yeah.
We're guaranteed to not sell even half as many records. We know that. And that means that we get to go on tour this time and play venues, you know? 3,000-4,000 seat venues.
Yes.
And we get to stay in the same town for maybe a couple of nights.
Yes.
It's going to be great. It's going to be like our first tour that we did with Sonic Youth.
Yes.
And those were some of the best times I've ever had. It's perfect. I feel that's a little bit too big, but still, you know. It's a really good environment.
Tell me, how do you sing? I want to ask you about that, because you've got several voices, which I really like.
Most of the time I sing right from my stomach, right where my stomach pain is.
Yeah, that's where the pain and anger comes from.
Yeah.
Because it's really there.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely there. I mean, yeah, doctors, every time I've had an endoscope, they find a red irritation in my stomach. But it's just, it's psychosomatic. It's all from anger and screaming. I mean, my body's damaged from music in two ways. Not only is my stomach has an inflamed irritation, but I have scoliosis. I had minor scoliosis when I was in junior high, and I've been playing guitar ever since. And the weight of the guitar has made my back grow in this curvature.
Really?
Yeah. So when I stand, you know, everything's sideways. It's weird.
You could get that sorted out.
Yeah, I go to a chiropractor every once in a while. You can't really correct scoliosis because it's the growth, and it's your spine that your spine grows over the years, through your adolescent years, in a curvature. Most people have a small curvature in their spine anyhow. But mine's just, you know, some people have it really bad where they have to have metal braces and stuff. Yeah. So it gives me a back pain all the time, you know. I'm always in pain too, and that really adds to anger in our music. It really does. Kind of grateful for it in a way.
Tell me, I have to ask this really. What happened with the gun thing that just was it all bullshit?
Oh yeah, total bullshit. That was that's another thing that just made me want to just give up. Just you know, a couple of weeks ago, never choked my wife. You know, and every report, even in Rolling Stone, you know, in the police report, for some reason, I've seen a copy of the police report, and Courtney was wearing a choker.
Yeah.
You know what those are? I ripped it off of her, and it turned out in the police report that I choked her. And we weren't even fighting. We weren't even arguing. But we were playing the music too loud, and the neighbors complained. They called the police on us. It was the first time they've ever complained, because we've been practicing in the house for a long time.
Oh yeah, that's it, you see. Oh shit. The actual words went through that. It's just like, that's the way they expect you to behave because you're a controversial rock star.
The police are really nice about it though. They'll tell you the truth. I couldn't believe it. See, there's this new law passed that month. It just happened to be passed that month in Seattle, where when there's a domestic violence call, they have to take one or the other to jail. So Courtney and I the only argument we got into was who was going to go to jail, you know, for a few hours. And they asked us, just out of the blue, are there any guns in the house? And I said no, because I didn't want them to know there were guns in the house.
So the although when the neighbors complain.
Yeah. And I have a M16 and 2 handguns, and they're put away. There are no bullets in them. They're up in the closet, you know, and they took them away. I can get them back now. I haven't bothered to get them back yet, but it was all just a ridiculous little situation. It was nothing.
And again, it's come up in the press.
And it's come up in totally, you know, blown out of proportion.
That must be the hardest thing to deal with.
It's just like, I feel like I'm you know, I almost feel like people don't believe me, like I'm a pathological liar at times, you know, because I'm constantly defending myself, you know. I mean, people still haven't evolved enough to question anything that's printed, you know. Even I'm really bad at that too. I believe a lot of things that I read.
But you must behave badly like that.
Sure. Sure. Courtney and I fight. We argue a lot. But never choked my wife. I mean, awful fucking thing to be printed and to be known for. You know? It's just not, you know, we haven't had any problems, any bad reports or any negative articles written about us in a long time, and we thought we were finally over it, you know. Our curse had worn itself out.
Well, I think it must be because people perceive you as a threat.
Yeah, I think Courtney's more of a threat than I am.
Yes. But I think your success was a threat.
Yeah. It was a threat to the metal bands.
So what are the plans for the record? Just to tour it a little bit?
To tour 6 weeks in the States, starting in October.
Right.
And then I don't want to commit to anything until we see how I feel physically after that, and then we'll go over to Europe. And I'm sure we'll be over in Europe to support this record within a year. Not sure when. I don't want to set the whole year's worth of touring up.
Yes, I suppose I wanted to ask you, because I find this very interesting. We should wind up first. There seems to be a tension in that, I'm trying to say this simply. In a way you define yourself as punk, then you used to. Not
Well,
defined, but you're very
influenced by punk, yeah.
Okay. Now, part of that spirit was that it wasn't a cool thing to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Did that cause a problem, or do you think that is
Well,
it's like the idea
early
of failing
punk
was more attractive, isn't very attractive. It's very failing.
Right.
That's the word.
well, that's not how I perceived early punk. I thought that the Sex Pistols wanted to rule the world, and I was rooting for them, you know. But then American punk rock in the mid '80s,
Very introverted.
yeah, it became totally stagnated and totally elitist, and it was a big turnoff for me. I didn't like it at all. But at the same time, I had been thinking that way for so long that it was really hard for me to come to terms with it, with the success all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But I don't care about it now. There's nothing I can do about it, you know. I'm not going to put out a shitty record on purpose, you know, to make sure. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But I probably would have done that a year and a half ago. I would have gone out of my way to make sure that the album was even noisier than it is, but we did this record the way we wanted to.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, because it worried me a bit, because I just thought, well, I've been a bit of that track. Because it's not interesting.
I mean, that defeats the whole reason of making music, you know.
You make music, you want to be pop.
Huh?
But you want to be popular, it's pop. What's that?
I've been validated, you know, far beyond anything, you know. I mean, when we could sell out the Vogue in Seattle, which holds about 300 people, I mean, I'll gladly go back to that. I'll gladly go back to playing in front of 20 people if I'm still enjoying it, you know. And that's one of the most positive things about this new record, is that I know that we're not going to sell. We're not going to have the fringe millions who don't enjoy music, who aren't into our band for any other reason other than to use it as a tool to fuck.
What have been the worst temptations of being successful? Have there been things you've been tempted by?
No,
No.
not that I can think of. Except for Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
They offered us a guarantee of like $6 million.
Yeah.
And that's way more money than we're going to break even on this tour because
Yeah.
we're playing in theaters. And the production is so expensive
Yeah.
at this level.
Yes, it is.
But other than that, I mean, I never thought of the Guns N' Roses and the Metallica and U2 offers as any kind of offer, you know. It was just never a reality to me, or Chris and Dave. So those were the only temptations that I can think of that someone would actually consider a temptation.
Were you quite misanthropic for a long time? Did you just not like people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hated everybody. Except for, I always managed to have at least one close friend at a time throughout most of my life. And, you know, there have been years where I just put up with my best friend and not really like the person. But, you know, since I've been in a band and since I've known Chris, and, you know, I have friends, I have a handful of friends that are great. But, you know, I had the same typical narcissistic attitude, you know, a year and a half ago before Courtney became pregnant. You know, how dare you bring a child into this life, you know, that kind of attitude, you know, it's really selfish, but there's no way I can think that now. I have no right to say something like that.
It's good.